And here we
We're
are.
live. Yes, we're
Yay!
live. Yay!
Yay! Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Champions of the Light. This is an interview series with 24 incredible leaders who share their story of how they have triumphed over adversity. My name is Kai Ashley. I am the spiritual guide and healer of the healers. And today we have Genevieve Rackham, who is the spiritual money coach, who many of you may have heard of. So thank you so much for joining us today, Genevieve.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm just like sharing it
Yeah, I
into my
totally forgot
places
that
really
part
quick. So,
too. Picked you out too.
All right, we're good.
Yay! So, Genevieve, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm excited.
Yay! So, would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your story? We'd love to hear.
What part of my story? I have many.
Well, the part where you've really triumphed over adversity.
Which time? I think really it's an ongoing process. I think the adversity of your own belief systems, your own mind, your circumstances, where you come from, the advantages or lack thereof you had, like I think you just have to come back to the truth of what you truly want and be led by that, and allow that to be more powerful than the adversity of your experiences or your mind or your limiting beliefs or whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah, it is all in the mind, really. For me,
yeah.
It started in my mind a lot too. I used to have all these mental blocks that was holding me back. What about you? What would you say were some of the mental blocks that were holding you back that you really had to overcome to become successful in your business?
Let's see here. What were my blocks? I would say like just the I would say I had to look at a lot of stuff around desire, right? Like I had to move out of the programming of like, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Is
Mhm.
this like, is making a lot of money and being successful meant for someone like me or whatever the fuck that means?
Yeah.
And like looking at how I was raised, what we believed about money growing up. The people around me, nobody made money, nobody was like successful in to the degree that I am now. And like for me, it was like just starting. Like it was like an act of fucking rebellion to just follow my heart, like in the first place, like to even just start the business, let alone like actually have it be profitable and successful and make money and impact people. Like just the fact of starting it, I like went against some like deep programming, like or
Mhm.
kind of like unspoken rules in my family, right? Of like, we sacrifice this shit, we don't actually follow this, or we're not
Yeah.
actually allowed to be very visible or very profitable in this. And just yeah. So that was fun. But I had to really just come back to what I wanted. Like, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And it was like I've always felt this deep desire to help people, to make a lot of money, to contribute to the world, and like financially and like with my message and my energy and my voice. And I would say I'm constantly dealing with like initiations that I have to step up into again and again and again in order to continually like grow my business, like make more money, reach more people, and really honor like the purpose I feel in my heart that I feel I'm here to live out in this lifetime, right? And it's a constant like overcoming of the adversity of my own mind, and just like bossing the fuck up and doing it, right?
I love that one. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the greatest lessons is that it's not just you do something once and you overcome a block once. It's often, I always see it like a spiral where you go around and then you come to another level and, maybe some demons come up or some fears or however you want to say it. What would you say to people that have already started their business, are already on their way, maybe feel like they've worked on things a lot of the time, but feel like they've hit a roadblock? How would you tell them to like pick themselves back up?
I think we hit roadblocks or plateaus for so many reasons but I think it all boils down to like with everything is like, what do you want? Right? Like desire, because I know for sure when I look at myself and I look at my clients, when I look at life, when I read about anybody who's accomplished anything. Like, we only accomplish and do things and have things and allow ourselves to receive things that we actually truly want, right? And so if we just kind of like, I know for me, there were times in business where I hit plateaus, or like in my income or in my impact or within my own energetic bandwidth of what I'm available to do, how many people I can hold in my container, stuff like that. Like, it's always like a continual, like, what do I want and why? Like, do I actually want this? And if do, like, grounding into why I want that, and like that why creates this sensation in my body of desire, right? And that desire creates this experience where I have vision, right? I'm very clear and aware of what I want. And from that clarity of being aware of what I want, it feels like I'm led, right? Because I feel like when we hit plateaus, it's because we get into the habit of doing or pushing. And it's like, you only have so much you can do, right? You only have so much energy you can give, right? If you're not motivated by something bigger than you or bigger than this moment, you're going to run into a wall for sure, right? Yeah. So it's all about tuning back into, what do you actually want? Why do you want what you want? And really reconnecting to that vision of like, and purpose, and like, what is the next step for you right now? Like, what is, like, not necessarily, like, kind of simultaneously, to me, it feels like grounding into who you are, where you're at now, what you want next, and what your actual, like, grand big vision is, like all three of those simultaneously, where it's like, I wouldn't even say simultaneously, but you just have to go back and forth between the three and keep checking in with them, where it's like, and if you kind of lose that and you stay where you're at, you plateau every time.
Yeah. What about, how do you help your clients deal with those like unconscious fears that are more like an energy than maybe like conscious thoughts in their head? Does that make sense? Like, when people have like these things that they can't quite put their finger on that's blocking them?
It really depends on the person in the container, but it's like, it really feels like, I don't know, I feel like I can just feel what's going on in their field. I feel like I can feel, because it's like, people hire me to calibrate to me to some degree, right? Or people hire me to get around me to calibrate to like the level of success I have in my business, the level of visibility, the level of money, the level of clients, the level of ease that I have in these areas or whatever, right? And I feel like, I don't know, if I'm standing here and a client comes into my field here and they're like calibrating to my energy, and I feel kind of like a pull from them, where it's like, it's a way they're holding themselves apart from me. I can just see it, because it's like, I have this perspective and bird's eye view because I'm here. Does that make sense? Like, I stay here, and they get to calibrate to me. That's how I feel about it. And so because I stay here, when they're here, I can just feel it. I can just see it. It's just clear and it's obvious, right? And yeah, so I would say it's like a combination of intuition, but also like, you would be surprised how much clarity comes forward when you just do have that continual support and feedback from a mentor, from someone who's supporting you, right? Because it's like, even just talking to like a brick wall, like, you'll create a lot of clarity, or just rambling your thoughts down in a journal, you'll create a lot of clarity. And I think it's not just saying things for the sake of saying things, but I also think it's like paying attention to how you feel as you kind of unpack the things that are moving around in your mind right now, right? And in that, paying attention to the emotions, like, you'll find the threads that need to be pulled on. You know what I mean? And then they start to become like, what was once unconscious becomes conscious, and when it's conscious, you can move it.
Yeah. Something that you said really struck me. I love how you say that your clients calibrate to your energy. Is there a way that people can calibrate to, like, rich, high vibe energies consciously, or is that more something that just happens unconsciously?
I think it's both. Like, I think it's like a desire and intention of, I want to have more of this, or I desire to have this level of ease. Okay, so for me, when people hire me, it's like, they're like, Genevieve, I want to be around you. I want to be in your energy. I want to have access to you. I want your support, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, amazing, let's do it. Right. And then it's like, just that decision, and like, just that intention of like, I want more. I like the way you do it. Let's fucking go. Like, they already started calibrating. It's like that decision energy. And then that shifts into like, I don't know, like a mirror, like whatever their intentions are, like more money with ease, for example. And then it's like, so as we're moving through time together, as I'm supporting them, it's like, we get to see in what ways they're holding themselves apart from making more money with ease, right? Because it's like, it will just feel obvious because their intention is that. Does that make sense? And so like, what I truly feel and believe is like, it's massively of service for people to be around me. And like, that's something that I had to really step into to grow my business. And even as my business is growing now, and having more and more people into my containers and making more and more money and reaching more and more people and having a larger and larger bandwidth of the amount of people I can support, for example, and the amount of money I can hold, like I'm just like, people just want to pay me to be around me. That's truly how I feel, because it's like, in me doing my work and in me setting these intentions and kind of like casting these energetic spells, so to speak, on my containers, like just the act of them coming in, transformation happens. Like they connect to this vortex, this powerful vortex of intention, where it's like they just get sucked in and transformation begins, right? And so it's like, I don't have to necessarily be like checking in all the time or super active or whatever. It's just like my energy is always there that they get to tap into and tune into. And that's not to say that I'm just like, oh, they paid and I don't talk to them. That's not at all what happens. Of course, I support them and show up for them as well. But you know, I just like that energy. Like what I've especially been noticing lately is like, that's really what they want. It really is. And so it's like, we have to, as business owners and as people, like we have to so boldly embody our codes, like our energetic codes that we have for the world and for people, so much so that people just feel them and attune to them and are activated or activate their own code or that coding within themselves by just being around us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like walking into the room where it's like, if you've lived in the dark your whole life, right? And you step into a room where there's light, you suddenly are aware of the clothes you're wearing, right?
Yeah. What about for the people who, I think the question that I really want to ask is, how can people embody their codes more? Like, what would that take?
The willingness to admit what they want, for starters. Letting go of fear, doubt, insecurity, or at least not like dropping it, like, because to me, like fear, doubt, and insecurity comes up for everyone. It comes up for me still, but it's not something I live my life by or make my decisions from. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's like, I feel like that coding is just like the willingness to listen to what you want and just like know that it's fucking allowed and know that it's enough. Right. Yeah. And I feel like from there, you attract people who meet you where you are instead of you having to overcompensate in your business, which leads to unpleasant things and being burned out and all the things, which is just unnecessary.
Yeah. So it sounds like that you really advocate for people following their desires and that's going to lead you towards your ultimate vision. Is that sort of it?
Yeah, because I mean, like, desire is an energy that is the energy that creates worlds. It's where manifestation occurs, right? Like, it's not a coincidence that when we have sex and we make babies, right? Like, there's a powerful vortex of creation that emerges into another living human being, right? But it's like, desire is the energy where you tap into like the quantum field, the creational energy of the universe that is fully available, being like, I am a blank slate, write on me. Like, I am just a chunk of clay, mold me to whatever you want, right? Like, that's when you tune into that. And like, when you play in that field of the quantum, the clay like molds to your intention. So it's like, have an intention, which means have a desire. And then it's like, get into the energy and feeling of desire. That's when you activate the intention in the quantum, and then clay begins, right? But it's like, it's always overly, I guess, like worried about it, or like not even connected. Like, life feels intense, or your business feels hit a plateau in your finances, you hit a plateau. Things are honestly so like your heart, what you want, what's next for you, and then not sure what happened there.
You're back. Sorry. I think we were freezing up a bit there. Okay, yeah. So say that last bit again.
Yeah, so I feel like desire solves all things, right? Because it's like, so many people get caught up in, how do I get there? How do I accomplish what I want? How do I get what I want? And it's like, all of that can be solved. It's like, you can just overplan yourself into oblivion, or worry yourself into oblivion, or confuse yourself into oblivion from lack of clarity, right? It's like, or instead you could just feel the sensations of what you want, desire, tune into what you truly actually want. Like, create that deep intentional relationship with yourself, your desires, your heart. And, you know, holy shit, does the world open up for you, right? Because it's like, it's when the inner vision, your inner truth, your inner desire gets so fucking loud that every like, the world around you becomes irrelevant, and it just starts molding and shifting and responding to the inner vision that you hold. You're a creator of your own motherfucking reality.
Are there any ways that people can strengthen their desire? Because I know sometimes it can be easy to have a lot of noise where you're not sure if it's like something that you think you should be doing. Like, how do you really know what's your desire?
That's kind of an experience for the individual, but it's like, it's just a relationship you have to cultivate like daily, right? For me, it's like, if I'm not connected to desire, like in life and business, I feel confused. I'm like, what do I actually want? And when I feel like that, I'm not being led by shit. I'm just like staying here and I'm like, I'm confused. What do I want? What's happening? And then it's like, then when you stay there, it's like, then those lower energies that you've fallen into in the past come up, like, is this going to work? Am I like, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working? I don't know. And then you're just like doing things from a non-intentional place or energy. And then it's like nothing's working. There must be something wrong with me. And it's like, no, you just don't know what you want and you're not connecting to that. Right. And so for me, it's like literally every day. And I would say this is the most consistent practice I have. I'm like regularly checking in, putting my hand over my heart and being like, what do I want? Like, what do I want this month? What's important to me right now? Like, what is a genuine intention I have in this moment? Like, what do I care about? What's on my mind? What am I thinking about? Like these things, right? And I'm checking in with these things and I'm like, okay. And I literally did this yesterday and I was like, I think it was in a different journal, but I literally wrote like, what's on my heart right now, underline. And I just was like, and I just like wrote it down. And I was like, this is what I want right now. Like right now in this moment, this is what I want. And this moment right now is all that matters right now. Right. If this changes tomorrow, beautiful. But right now, this is what I want. And I went through each thing and I was like, why do I want these things? Right. And then you get to differentiate between, is that an ego desire? Like, oh, that'd be cool. Or like, I'm not trusting in my long-term vision or whatever. Like, I need to have that right now because if I don't, then I'll never have it. And I need it right now to prove something. Right. It's like, what is actually important to you right now? What do you actually want? Right. And you can feel it because once you connect to it, you're like, oh, yum. Like you feel it in your heart. And that is something to motherfucking get behind. That is the vision that leads you. Right. Instead of you having to like push a rock up a hill. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So much to do. I'm tired. Right. Instead of that, it's like this like feeling where there's something at the top of the hill. You're at the bottom of the hill and you have a fucking rope tied around your waist and they're pulling you up. That's what it feels like. So
that's amazing. So there's some really powerful steps. Once you tune into that desire, into your reasons why, and you feel that real sweet spot, then how do you know what to do next?
That's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's like, I don't like literally my practice is like, I get so in the desire because what I believe about life, what I believe about God, what I believe about the universe is like, the universe is going on forever. Like they've proven that scientifically, right? The universe is infinitely going on forever. There is no end. And what they've noticed about the universe is not only is it forever expanding, but the further out you move, the faster it moves and the faster it expands. Right. And I'm like, that energy is not just limited to the stars above us. That's the energy we function and work off to. Right. So it's like, we're living in a time where energy is moving faster than ever. We're living on the motherfucking leading edge of creation. Right. Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, it's like, energy is always in motion. You can't shut that off. You can only try and hold yourself apart from it. But that is such a powerful force. That is God. Nothing is more powerful and can override God. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's like that energy will pull you and pull you and pull you because energy is always in motion. Momentum is always in motion. Right. And so that energy will just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the more you go, like when you go with it by tuning into desire, you're led, you're pulled. And like, eventually you're like, it's not like, what should I do? It's like this feeling of like, I'm going to do that. Oh my God, I'm going to do that. Let's do that. Right. Or it's some variation of that, but it's like, if you're not tuning into what you want, like there is no essence, there is no oomph, there is no like anything to connect to, right? There is no something to believe in. There's nothing to get behind. And so of course it feels empty. Of course you plateau. Of course you don't know what you want. Of course you're doubting yourself. Of course things aren't working.
Yeah. And that can get a lot of momentum behind it for sure. When you start doubting yourself and you just let it, there was a long time where I was, as Tony Robbins calls it, shooting all over myself. I always was telling myself what I should do. And it wasn't until I completely just got fed up with it that I let it go. And I started actually doing what I desired and not really caring about what I should do. That's when things actually really started working out for me.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, do what you want. The world will respond to you. If you do what you think you should, you're just going to get backed up into a corner until life is like, do what you want, bitch. Psh, psh. And you're like, fine. Right. Or people like let that energy build and build and build to the point where they're like, I have no fucking idea how this is going to work, but it needs to work. And they're like, and then they're like collapse on their kitchen floor. And curl up in a ball and just start sobbing, and they're like, why is this so hard? And then they just release, and they're like, I quit, I give up, right? And they give up the resistance, and then they experience movement.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could have just done that in the first place.
So there's something else that you said earlier that I'd love to get your take on. How would you suggest people can make their decisions from a place of trust and love when they've got a lot of fear going on? Like, how can they quiet that noise and really tune into making decisions from trust?
Like, what kind of decisions?
Like the next step decisions, I guess. Any decision really, but yeah, I'm thinking like maybe the next step decisions, decisions that maybe feel a bit scary and risky to them.
I feel like it's just turning up the internal voice of your vision, of your desires, turning that up so fucking loudly that it's like the external reality just starts feeling irrelevant, where it's like, you know, and I know, like, you know, with investing in yourself in business, for example, it's like not doing it for just because you should or for the sake of it or whatever, just throwing money at shit and just being like, that worked one time, let me just do it again. And you're like, why isn't it working? This isn't actually what I want. I feel confused. Was this what I wanted? Right? It's like, I think it's really important to, again, tune into that inner vision, tune into like what you actually want, play with that desire. And like, I feel like for me, like being in the coaching space, for example, like I almost always have a mentor. I can think of one period of time in business where there was a few months where I didn't, but I was really grounding into my own energy and field. But it was like, it really was just getting me ready to have another mentor. Like, because it's like the way I collapse time, the rate that my business grows financially and otherwise, and the way that my life improves really, really quickly, like it's not normal. Like people in the coaching space, we grow so fucking fast. Like if you compare this industry to other industries where they're like, oh, you grew 2% over a year, that's awesome. And we're like 200% over a year, right? Growth, for example. And, you know, like that's not normal. We're playing with money and we're playing with consciousness in a whole different fucking way. Right. And so I think it's really just like, you get to decide who the fuck you are. You get to decide what kind of life you want to live and then act in accordance with that vision that you have, and not blindly, not for the sake of it. It's like when you're truly in touch with that vision, you feel it in your heart. And if when you're connected to that vision, you feel it in your heart, of course, you're going to be led to do things, and it may not make sense, or a lot of the times won't make sense, but it's like, to me, it's remembering that it's only scary to your mind, and your mind is a protection mechanism. Its job is to keep you alive. Your soul does not have the same fear that your mind does. Your heart and your vision does not have the fear of your mind does. So your mind does. So it's like, it's always going to be like a continual, like, lead from my heart and then calibrate my mind to my heart versus lead from the fear of my mind and hope things get better. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like your soul is infinite. And so naturally your soul is going to, like, and your brain is not, right? So your brain's going to be like, I don't want to die. Like, what if we do this and we run out of money? What if it doesn't work? Like, what if, or what if we, you know, go skydiving and the parachute doesn't open, right? When your body, like, your brain takes over your body, and you're like, I'm trying to jump, but like you're death gripping on the side of the plane. You're like, I'm not doing this. This is right. But it's like that continual, like the vision and the desire will, like, you have to make it so real and so vivid within yourself that it is louder than anything your brain can feel or like, or make you feel or whatever, try and make you believe. Wow. Right. And then from there, it's just like, it doesn't, fuck yeah, you're going to do scary shit, but it's like, it's not going to derail you. And it's just going to eventually turn into like, yeah, that's just a typical Tuesday.
So I have one more thing that I really want to ask you, and I get the feeling you've talked about the mechanics of it already, but what is maybe like a tip or an exercise that you could give our viewers so that they could go away and start playing with collapsing timelines? How would you describe that?
So I feel like for me, collapsing timelines is like, there's like the Newtonian version of reality, which for simplicity's sake, 3D version of reality, which is like, I am a physical person touching things, feeling things, whatever. And then there's a 5D, the quantum field, right? And, you know, 3D reality, you have to move through space in order to get what you want from this version of reality, 3D version of reality. You're here and what you want is here, right? And so in order to get what you want, you have to move through space, which takes time, right? And so you're limited by time and space, right? If you want to collapse timelines, you can't move through time and space because then you're bound by the laws of time and space. It will have to take time and you will have to move through space to get it, right? But it's like, if you tune into quantum, because you're an extension of God, because you're also a soul, right? This is where everything is available, and everything is at your fingertips. Everything is at your disposal. It's just about what you want, right? Mm-hmm. And so that means in order to tap into quantum, you have to stop playing with time, right? So it's like, when you collapsing timelines means you remove time from the equation, and you make it about, instead of what can I have within this period of time, you ask yourself, what do I want, period, right? And then it's like, when you tune to that, you're in the energy of desire. When you're in the energy of desire, you're feeling what it would be like to already have what you want. It's like this activation in your heart, you can feel it. And from that, what happens is you're not limited by time. It's just about what you're matched to. Like, are you a vibrational match or not? Yes or no. That's it. It's not yes, and then it will take time. It's just yes or no when you're playing here. So to collapse timelines, you stop playing with time and you just ask yourself what you want. Yes, am I a match? Yes or no? And you play there. Right. And then naturally you hold that. That's the dominant energy. And then it's like your 3D reality will calibrate, and you will collapse time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And so then do you just like, would you look at the gap and be like, well, the energy of what I desire is here, but maybe I'm over here somewhere. What can I do to close the gap and be more like that or feel more like that? Is that even close?
If when you activate desire, to me, desire feels very pure. It's absence of resistance, right? Much like, let's compare it to trying to orgasm and just having an orgasm, right? Very different. Feels very different. Right? One's like goal oriented, and others just being, right? So when you're in the being, if what's interrupted immediately is some kind of objective or well, feel it, but I'm not, in your brain interrupts and you come back into 3D version of reality. It's like, sure, you get to look at those things of your mind that come up, that want to be shifted, that want to be rearranged, like to align with the good and the desire, so that you can bring the energy into your body and have embodiment. When embodiment occurs, so does manifestation, right? It's like, or you can just be in desire and be in desire and be in desire, and that energy will just wash away naturally the resistance you have.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, would you tell everyone about your free gift? And I'm going to put the link in the comments where this video is playing on my page. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, sounds good. So my free gift, it's a law of attraction client attraction guide. So if you like signing clients by literally just shifting your energy, this is the guide for you. And it's completely free. But yeah, it's like, it's a lot of like prompts of like shifting your energy, right? Because if you're new to me, hello. If you follow me, you know that I'm not teaching marketing strategy. I'm not teaching like what to say, how to talk, any of that shit. I'm literally just teaching you how to open up your energy and be available for what you want, because it's like, that's literally all the work that I do. And if from there I'm led to speak, I speak. From there I'm led to not, I don't, right? It's all about becoming energetically fully available. And this free guide is is the opening up of your energy to clients. So have fun.
That's amazing. This has been great. I really think that we've covered so much ground that people are going to find so valuable. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. That went fast. That was 30 minutes, wasn't it?
That was really good. Yay. Okay,
well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so yep, there's going to be more of these in the super series. There's 24 amazing speakers all up, so feel free to subscribe. And if you're not following Genevieve yet, make sure you go to her page, join her group, and sign up for her free gift. Yay. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Genevieve. Okay, bye.
Bye.